And a very warm welcome to another episode of Off the Leash, brought to you by the Racing Post in association with Premier Greyhound Racing. You find us here on the Racing Post YouTube channel. I'm Dave Clark, and he is the in-form Tony Bullen. That with the back of the net last week. Tony Barntick Bear out the second bend, never in any doubt.
No, I say, I thought he lost a lot on the track last time out, Dave, and he caught the eye. The thing with those types of dogs, you always opening the gaps appear, but it worked out perfectly for Barntick Bear. He's not showing any urgency in the early stages, but he got the run of the race where it mattered most, and tailor-made for him, Hove, and he powered home in the second half, as we expected.
Yeah, this is going to be our last show of 2024. We're unavailable next week, and the week after that, the big fat bloke comes down the chimney, so we won't be here for that either. I can only describe this year as relentless, Tony, because here we are again. What we've got coming up on the show, we've got the National Sprint semi-finals at Nottingham on Monday we'll take a look at. The two finals at Hove. We're going to have a tiny quick peek at the Premier Greyhound Racing All England Cup at Newcastle. We're not even touching on the British Bred Derby at Sheffield. It really is relentless.
Yeah, it is. One good thing, though, A, we've got variety, and B, in the last couple of years, I believe, since they actually structured a calendar where the events are, we know they're set in stone on them dates, it's made the racing better because trainers can now plan ahead instead of wondering if an event's going to go ahead, what track's it going to be at, who's going to sponsor it. So add a bit of structure and you get the good racing flowing.
Good racing indeed, and we're covering all of it here on Off the Leash. Do remember to like, comment and subscribe. The Racing Post YouTube channel is firing on all cylinders at the moment. We've got the sweet spot on a Tuesday. We're here on a Wednesday. You've got Johnny and Dave as well with Up in the Ante. Thursday, the assist. So everything is covered. We enjoy your comments. We had a couple last week. One from LFC Monkey Man, who's all over Barntick Bear. He thought heading into the semi-finals was an each-way still. Shut your eyes when you see the draw for the final for the Olympic. We also had Phil Bush on saying, does Tony have a twin brother in Scotland called Winston in the comedy Still Game?
Yeah, used to get that emailed in quite a lot on the old RPG TV, Dave. I haven't, but apparently it's quite a good show, so I'm always pleased to be part of a good show.
Just, weekly, you're right here on a good show. I think I did have a little peek, and I think you're just missing the flat cap, my man there. I've not seen that one, but there you go. Thank you for those comments, and do remember to get involved, whether it be on YouTube or on our Facebook page, Racing Post Ground. You can watch the show there as well. I mentioned what we've got coming up on this week's show. We'll start over two bends. It's the big one at Nottingham, the Arena Racing Company National Sprint 36 has become 18, three semi-finals on Monday night. And then it is a brilliant card at Hove on Saturday. Two Cat 1 finals, the Olympic sponsored by Corals and the George Curtis Ballyregan Bob Memorial. That's over 740 metres. Both £10,000 to winner. And then we'll have a quick look, because we're recording this on a Wednesday morning, at the All England Cup at Newcastle, which starts on Thursday night. So basically tomorrow. So we'll jump into the outright there, and we'll give you our best bets as well. And Tony's a man in great form. All the action, of course, is live on the Premier Greyhound Racing service, whether that be on the stream, just Google Premier Greyhound Racing and you'll find it, or behind the red button on Sky Sports Racing. Let's get to it then. Tony, the National Sprint, although not the most lucrative sprint competition, given where it is in December, back end of the year, if you've got a good dog over two bends, this is the competition you aim for, isn't it?
Yeah, and what an event this year. I must admit, it's a fantastic renewal. Always one of the most exciting sprints over the Christmas period. And this is a serious sprint competition. There's some cream of the crop in the lineup.
Right, well, we are going to spin through the three semi-finals on Monday night. We'll start with the 8:36, which is semi-final number one. And we've got the betting in as well. Fair play to Ladbrokes and Coles. First one's out the boxes here. And we've got Aero Patico on the inside at 5-1. Bomb Out Bullet, the defending champion, at 4-1. Zilzal 33s. Bramble Linter, the classic winner, 3-1. Rocket Oisin, the Scurry Cup winner, 4-5. Another box cart, 3-1. And there's only one place to look here, Tony. The first round, Heat 4, the Anti-Post Jolly wins yet again, 17.58. Joint fastest with Stone Park Hoffer And this was brilliant, wasn't it? Nothing flashy from the boxes. You rarely get that from him. This dog can really shift to the corner, though.
Yeah, he's a brute of a dog. Only one defeated, 9 wins from 10 races, won the scurry at Perry Bar. You do fear for him at the bend. You think he ain't going to get round, but he's 36 kilo frame. He doesn't shirk the issue. He's brave as they come, Dave, and he stands his ground and is as fast as any when he gets in full flight. I mean, he produced miracles to win prior to this. I know he's been sent off skinny prices, but it's what he's doing. He's putting up the times.
What do we make of him here in this semi-final? Then he's in track 5. He's got Bramble Linton up on his inside. He'll probably take a little step inside from 4. Bomb Out Bullet. Great to see him back. I spoke to his trainer, Belinda Green, and it's been far from straightforward since he won this event last year on Boxing Day, if you remember right. He was rescheduled. I think they had a frozen track at Nottingham, and the national sprint was rescheduled to Boxing Day. He bombed out and did the business. It was great to see him back as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, he's a dog that goes well fresh. I've touched on this many times. I don't fear backing a sprinter, even if they've had 4 or 5 months off the track, because they can be ready to rock and roll following an absence. And Bomb Out Bullet's proven that he can run well fresh off his bed. And yeah, the defending champ, he threw down a serious enough marker in his first round heat, Dave.
Really good semi. Where are you going?
I'm going to be with Ryoko Oshin. I mean, I'm not worried about the draw for Bramble Linton. If anything, I think it could be a decent attack point for him up the centre. But he is a sort of break pace up type, the Bramble Linton. And I think Ryoko Oshin's probably more than likely going to enjoy the smoother passage round the first 2 bends, round them opening 2 bends, than Bramble Linton. So I'd just be sticking with Kevin Hutton's scurry start.
Yeah, 2 votes for the Scurry Cup champion then in track 5, the opening semi-final. Right, we're going to jump to semi-final number 2, the 8:54 on Monday night at Nottingham. Again, 305 metres here. Time count 16-1. Droopy's Man of War, the Kent Derby finest 3-1. Oakfield Merty 5. Stone Park Hoffer 4-6. New in Soley 12s. Guzzler 12-1. I mentioned Rocco Eshin was the joint fastest. Here is the performance of the other joint fastest, Stone Park Hoffer for Savile Roberts, 17.58. Broadway Merty, the Northamptonshire sprint champion in track 3. Alien Bolt in 4, your 2 qualifiers. This dog's got big pace. I don't think he wants to be quite tight on the rail as he was here. You could see him just shift away from the fence a little bit, but he's got huge pace. I don't think he quite saw out the 450 at Sunderland. He certainly gets the 305 at Nottingham, though.
Yeah, he had a half-decent Irish card, this dog, and then did he do the sprint clock at Sunderland in one of his prep trials for the Classic?
He certainly gave it a shake, yeah.
Yeah, he looked the business when winning the heat of the Classic, and then just he didn't sustain the gallop when eliminated from the semi. But this is suited. He's suited to track and trip with Stone Park Hoffer, and as you touched on, Dave, I'm not too concerned about him being drawn out in the middle. I think Connections will be delighted with the way the draws worked out on both counts, personally.
Right, so at 4-6, are you a play or a lay? I mean, I had a small play, Droopy's Man of War anti-post. I thought we looked a little bit overpriced heading into the opening round. I think the dog's got massive pace to the turn. He's not really a sprinter, but quite a few of the dogs at the head of the market are thinking of Bramble Linton, and even Rocco Eshin's not really a sprinter. He's a 4-bend dog with massive early, really, for me. So I had a little play on him. So I'll be open, he qualifies, but I'm going to be with Stone Park Hoffer here. I think the switch down the middle might just help him out the boxes.
Yeah, same. I'm going to be with Stone Park Hoffer again. I think if he was connected to the dog, you'd be pleased with the way the draws worked out.
Right, semi-final number 3, 9-11 on Monday night. One is Neo's Fernerbolt 8-1, Bogger Ritchie 16s, Broadway Merty 5-2, Alien Bolt 22s, Cree Jojo 6-4, Ballinabola Bill at 2-1. 2 wide seats here in 5 and 6. Let's have a look at Cree Jojo beating Droopy's Man of War. I just mentioned 6-1, 3 back in third. This was Heat 1 last week, winning time 17.69, Tony.
Yeah, improved for his first sighting. He did move off quite dramatically in the trial, but he's improved for that look round. And he's a fast dog, Dave. When he gets it right, he sort of had a little bit of a dip in form, but he's back to something like his best form is Cree Jojo, and his winning time tells you he can go toe to toe with these.
Yeah, Ballinabola Bill lightly raced. Decent trial coming into the event. Definitely favoured kind of an inside line on the bends anyway, which I thought was quite interesting. Now, I'm sure if you ask connections, maybe 5 and 6 would want to swap places. And I thought that was enough to maybe be against them. They're taking such a massive chunk out of the market, 6-4 and 2-1. I'll take a chance with Broadway Murty, but I think you are half relying on 5 and 6 doing each other up early doors. But Broadway Murty, we know, Class Act won the Northamptonshire Sprint at Toaster. Who do you like?
I'm going to be with 6, as you say. I would have ideally preferred Cree Jojo in 6, Ballinabola Bill in 5, but I thought he ran well to qualify Ballinabola Bill. I mean, he was never going to win the race after trapping like he did, but 17.64 in a prep trial prior to that, 15.20 Swindon stacks up well enough. Yeah, I would be with Ballinabola Bill on the basis he can trap a bit better than he did in the first round.
Right, outright then, there's only 18 of them remaining in this year's Arc National Sprint. £7,500 up for grabs. The best over 2 bends on show here. Rokuoshin was the anti-post favourite. Of course, he's still jolly. 5-2. Stone Park Coffer 7-2. Bramble Linton 6s. Aeropatica 12s alongside Bomb Out Bullet. Broadway Murty 16-1 bar. Got any view after one round of racing?
I'm going to be with Hoffa just on the basis that I think out of the 3 semi-finals, he's probably got the smoother passage, although in a sprint you take nothing for granted. There's no margin for error at this level, but I just like the way he went about his business in the first round, Stone Park Offer. And if things did occur in any of the other 2 semis and it doesn't produce the final that you would expect, all of a sudden 7-2 could be looking pretty.
And there you go, £7,500 up for grabs a week on Monday then at Nottingham. The very best over 2 bends and Tony like Stone Park Offer at 7-2. Right, we will move on then to Saturday night, and what a night as well. Not one, but 2 Category 1s down at Hove. The £10,000 Coral Olympic for some of the best 4-bend dogs in the country, and we're over 740 metres for the George Curtis and Ballyregan Bob Memorial. You've got to stay. There's no hiding place here. This 740 metres. We're going to start with the stayers. We're going to start with the George Curtis Ballyregan Bob Memorial. And there's only one place to look here. Anti-Post Jolly Garfinney Blaze. He won the Cesarewitch. He's unbeaten over 6 bends. And he still is as well. This was a nice performance here. Now, I spoke to his trainer, Mark Wallace, who thought he maybe didn't enjoy conditions on Saturday night. It was very wet. It was very windy. He half missed the break. 44.77 out of trap 3. Coffee Time Guys qualified. It was my price-wise pick in the Racing Post at a nice big price. So did qualify. But I do love this dog. He starts and he stays. He just loses class, doesn't he?
Yeah, and then particularly, obviously, he had a setback. He hit the ground running at the start of the year, won the Cesarewitch at Central Park, went on to strut his stuff in good fashion at Hove for the first 6 months of the year, Dave, and then obviously he suffered that setback in a stayers event during the derby at Toaster, but they've nursed him back to full fitness for a tilt at this George Curtis Ballyregan Bob Memorial, and I know he's had to work hard to sort of get to the front, but he's class. I mean, that's how good he is. He can win without doing a flashy time on occasions, Garfinney Blaze, and that's a sign of a good dog.
Yeah, workmanlike, to quote Mark Wallace as well there, but he was absolutely delighted to see his charge go through. And I'm sure he's delighted to see this draw as well, because it's worked out well for him. We've got Breton Molly on the inside at 7-2. Hopey in trap 2, 11-2. Garfinney Blaze 11-8. Coffee Time Guys 14. Droopy's Flotilla 13-2. Twano Bella at 14-1. 8:07 at Hove on Saturday night. They're all railers. You've got big early pace in 5 and 6, but Garfinney Blaze, who is the favourite, I think is well drawn here. Tony's flanked by slow starters.
Yeah, I think he can. If he can come away a little bit better, I think he can boss the inside. I mean, Droopy's Flotilla, I think connections would be cringing the way the draws worked out. She's a bitch at the top of her game. If she had been drawn bang on the rail, she would have been a big player because she's just running for fun at the moment. Tuono Bella done connections proud by reaching the St Ledger final. Hopey, amazingly, I think is yet to win at Hove, which like the form that she's got to her name is a bit of a surprise. But it's all about 3. If he comes forward for the 2 races that he's had under his belt, you know he can go very low on the clock, Dave. So if he can get to the front early, it'll take a very good one to pass him.
Let me ask you what price you think Garfinny Blaze will return after the race.
I mean, I'd be around the even money mark myself. I think evens he hits the front by the third bend and wins. If he gets traffic, then he probably won't win because as much as he was workmanlike last weekend, this is a stronger race. So I'm not sure he's going to be able to afford to make errors and sit in third or fourth position and come through to win. But I think if you can get him to the front by the third bend, the rest is down to the dog. I can't see any excuses if he's in front by the third turn, Dave.
Now, given the draw, because this could have been Garfinny Blaze in 3 with Tuano Bella and Droopy's Flotilla up his inside, given the draw and the fact that they're all the way out in 5 and 6, I'm amazed this dog is as big as 11 to 8. Because, I mean, if he traps, I think he'll hold them 2 to the turn. And that's race over. I think you're looking like an act of God for this dog to get beat. As I say, he uses class. He's unbeaten over 6 bends. I think he gets this 740 strong enough. I know he didn't get home when they stepped him up to the 8 bends. He finished third in the TV trophy. But I think he just gets off the front here. And I think there's 11 to 8 available at the moment. That is a cracking bet. I think this dog will be odds on come the off. So I think the draw's worked out nice. And it's all gone to plan, really. You could call it workman-like last week if you like. But I think the dog will come forward. You know, he's so lightly raced this year, given the issues that he's had. And he's got the 14 times champion trainer in his corner. So every box is kind of ticked for me there. I expect this dog to come forward, and I think he will win. So 11 to 8. I don't often go with the skinny ones, but 11 away I think is generous enough. Right, it is not the only final, though. The George Curtis Ballyregan Bob Memorial on Saturday night at Hove. The £10,000 Coral Olympic final will also be on show. Brilliant card, 12 races. There's a couple of other opens and finals, a couple of other finals on the card. Open racing throughout. We're going to have a look at Proper Heiress, who was the fastest semi-final winner last week before we tackled the draw. This was semi-final number 2, 29.71 from trap 4. Droopy's extra good when in trap 5. Now, we slightly disagreed last week, Tony, because you was very confident that Proper Heiress would just have enough to outgun them to the turn, job done. I just had reservations. We've seen this dog dive inside out of a middle draw at Nottingham, and that kind of proved his undoing in the Eclipse. Wow, there was never a moment's doubt. He was spot on. He had enough to do him to the bend, but he's definitely breaking a little bit better as well since switching to Hove.
Yeah, he's becoming a proper dog, this Proper Heiress. I mean, you could see that the talent was always there, but this switch to Hove has really brought out the best in him because he's going the early with him and 428 back-to-back sectionals. If Connections could bottle that, what a career this dog's going to have. Because what impresses me most about him, the engine that he's got, Dave, he's still powering to the pickup. He extends away up the home straight. Like you think for a semblance going into the third bend, dogs are closing on him. They're not. As he straightens up, you see the dog extend even further, and he's a proper dog, this Proper Heiress.
Yeah, I would describe his back straight pace as devastating. You know, if he's level with any of these out in the second turn, I think he'll be in front, but, you know, really flies down the back. But it's a great final. Again, similar to the Stayers final, 6 railers. So let's have a look at them then. 8.41 at Hove on Saturday night, this one. Iams of Sydney, the gold collar champion in red at 3-1. Then we've got Proper Heiress 7-4, Missile 1 6s, Droopy's Pivotel 12, Spantic Bear 3s, Droopy's Extra Good at 14-1. It's a shame that Barntic Bear, who I think is as fast as anything over 4 bends, is stranded out where he is because I can't see how he gets a run early doors. And I think something like Iams of Sydney or Proper Heiress is just going to get first run on him, and that will be that. I think it will be Proper Heiress. I'm the same as you, Ten. I think this dog is really putting it together out of the boxes, which is bad news for the opposition here because there's no signs of him stopping. And again, you know, Mark Wallace in a big final, what do you get? You get a fast start, and that should be that. Good dog up on these inside, though.
Oh, yeah, Iams of Sydney. I mean, he stole the show on Judgment Night, didn't he? He upstaged a few of the big players on Hove and stole the show in the gold collar at Crayford. he scrambled through, but the fact that he's got through and he's got a good draw on the inside, he's got a fast start in him, Iron to
Yep.
Sydney, but similar to the George Curtis Ballyregan Bob Memorial, if Proper Harris is in front of any of these, they can't back run him. And that's the way I looked at the race. I thought, if two can hit the front out of the second turn, it should be race over, Dave.
Yeah, I do. If you like your forecast and tricast, I do think Barntick Bear will be framing up here despite his terrible draw, just because the dog is a monster from halfway. So if he can somehow pick a way through, I think he can maybe run a big race as well. And he's 3-1 at the moment. I think you'll probably get bigger than that come the off, given his draw. Is it 2 picks for Proper Eris then, Tony?
It certainly is.
Okay, well, he's another price-wise pick in the Racing Post. I think it was as big as 14-1, so hopefully we can get him over the line as well. Right, so we are recording this on a Wednesday morning, so time is of the essence because tomorrow night, the £20,000 Premier Greyhound Racing All England Cup at Newcastle gets underway. The Derby in the north, if you like, the biggest race of the year at Newcastle. And a really, really interesting contest, this one, because the 2 greyhounds at the head of the market are monsters. We've got the local champion, if you like, Wiki Ned, who's already won 3 Category 1s so far this year, taking on the Southern Raider, if you like, here, Patrick Janssens. Fair play to Patrick and his team. They travel up with the East Anglian Derby and Oaks champion, Druids Say Go, among many, many other quality greyhounds. This is always a good event, this one, Tony. It's nice to see a few travelling up.
Yeah, it is. I mean, cracking renewal, All England Cup. One thing that I was looking for, I've looked, and obviously all the big players are railers, so
yeah.
I was looking for a strong running wide, and unfortunately, I couldn't really find anything out wide that I thought could keep sneaking through. But yeah, it's a great event. Lynx Maverick, when you're taking on Antigua Hawk, who was a bit naughty when we last saw him in Ireland, but his trials, he's moved second to none in trials. You can see what pace this dog has at his disposal, but that's a real cracking heat, the opening heat. Lynx Maverick in 1, Antigua Hawk in 2. Carrick Fergie impressed on debut last week, but I just looked at, the more I kept looking, I looked at the heat that Wiki Ned finds himself in. He's got a slow starter in Popper Flenky. I just think that he does the business. I know he wasn't at his best when winning the Northern Flat, but 28-41 in a recent trial on home soil suggests that he's ready to rumble, and he just thrives in competitions. He's so jealous, is Wiki Ned, when he gets to the front. Little bit unlucky in the Eclipse, didn't quite make the bend, but that's racing. But the more I kept looking to take on the leading lights, I was struggling, and I thought, well, if it ain't broke, don't need to fix it. Stick with Wiki Ned.
Well, let's have a look at the market then. Wiki Ned is 3-1. Druids Say Go 11-2. Antigua Hawk 6s. Lynx Maverick 6s. Untold Ruber 8-1. 12-1 bar. Now, it's not often that we would agree in this kind of fashion, but I'm with you here. Wiki Ned, I think win, lose or draw in this event should really be winning ground of the year. The 3 competitions is one of all 3 big competitions. The dog is a champion. He's a proven winner. And I'm like you. I think he's going to win his first round heat. And he's a very, very short price. I think he's about 3 on some of the early prices I've seen to win his heat. And he just gets the job done, doesn't he? And he proved in that Steel City Cup that he didn't need to lead. He didn't need to bomb out and be catch me if you can. This 480, I think he can go around on the shoulder of the leader and still prove a big, big player. But his sectional in his trial was electric. And we're looking at, a champion here, aren't we? He's already won 3 Cat 1s. I think you're like me, Tony. Ground of the year doesn't really bother you too much. I like what dogs do on the track. I'm not really bothered about them getting accolades at the end of the year. But he's the dog of the year, really, isn't he?
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, obviously his Derby campaign ended in the first round, but other than that, he's been flawless, the dog. He's grown, and that's the beauty of what he's done. Since the pup, he's grown, and the boy's become a man.
We'll leave it at that then. That starts on Thursday night at Newcastle. And just for the scheduling there, that goes Thursday, and then the final is on the Friday, the 27th of December, and that is £20,000 to win on the All England Cup, biggest race of the year, all live on the Premier Greyhound Racing service. Right, it is that time for the final time this year. Best bet of the week. Barntick Bear, back of the net last week. Where are we off to for the nap?
Yeah, I mean, look, we've covered a lot of these big races at the various tracks. I thought, well, we'll throw Sheffield into the mix, Dave. On Sunday, we've got the British bred Derby taking place, and Patrick Janssens has got a strong enough hand. And this Romeo Still, he's absolutely running out of his skin. He's the most consistent I've ever seen him. He did kennel mate Romeo Command a real favour in the Eclipse final, but the pace that he's showing to the bend on a regular basis now has changed the dog completely, and I just think that he'll get to the front on the inside. You've got Keithfield Rocky, who set a decent standard in the first round. He should make the market, so we're not going to be really short price with Romeo Still, but I think he leads the inside, and Sheffield's one of those tracks you can defend the lead at Sheffield.
Well, there you go. Short straights and the long sweeping turns get to the front, and hopefully Romeo Still can do the business. He goes in the 4:42 on Sunday. That's Tony's nap. I'm going to keep it really simple. One of the big races we've previewed on this week's show, the George Curtis Ballyregan Bob Memorial Final at Hove on Saturday night. I think the favourite is a good thing. He's as big as 11-8. I personally think this dog's going to go off odds on. The draw's worked out nice. He starts and stays. He's flanked by slow starters. And the early pace rivals, if you like, are stranded out on 5 and 6. So the coast is clear, I think, for the Cesaris champion Garfinny Blaze to bag another big prize. Right, they are our best bets of the week. This has been Off the Leash, episode 42 in a year. We've managed to bag Tony. It's been an absolute pleasure. It's been a good year. Relentless scheduling has just meant we've had big races to tackle throughout the year, but I think we've held our own and found plenty of winners along the way.
Oh yeah, I guarantee we're in profit. We definitely. Christmas should be covered. Christmas was covered in April, I think, wasn't it? Anyway, but the rest has been coasting from there on in.
As ever, we thank you for your time and expertise, Tony. I'm sure you steered us onto a couple more winners this week as well. Do enjoy the racing, of course. Gamble responsibly. Have yourself a very Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, and we'll see you in January.